It is the eve of Money in the Bank weekend, and there's plenty to get into there's a whole lot of money riding in this heat wave. This is the Friday edition of WWT Live.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go off. This is Shayna, the Queen of Spades, Baszler, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
TGIF, good people, happy Friday, and welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am your professor, Gerard Bonner, Teflon G, GB, or whatever else you feel like calling me today. And there is plenty to talk about. It is a big WWE weekend with SmackDown, Money in the Bank, Heatwave, all emanating this weekend from Toronto, or someone told me to say Toronto. We might talk about some of the representation of WWT in Toronto. It's so weird to say, even though I've heard people say Toronto, but what do I know? Anyway, shout out to you, Dylan. Always good to see you, good buddy, and good morning to you, sir. And we're going to get into a very full show, but I am not alone. Listen, if I got to be partnered with somebody, partner with a high-ranking elected official. That, of course, is the Councilman Farrow. How are you, sir?
I'm tired. I'm tired, Professor. We've been up for the last couple of hours trying to get us extra security for Roxanne Perez in Toronto. They're not, they're very friendly up there in Canada, so we don't have the necessary force because we got criminals that she got to face this Sunday. So we're just trying to make sure our NXT Women's Champion is protected.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into all things Heat Wave, all things Money in the Bank. We're getting into all of it. Boza, good to see you. This will be a fun one. Of course, yes. This is going to be a lot of fun. And we might get another few folks in today. So be on the lookout for that. But we want to dig into, and I mean, there's a lot. We'll get into all of those things. But as we were going off the air Wednesday, which, by the way, if you missed Wednesday's show, do yourself a favor, go back in the archives, whether you're listening or watching. It's probably better to watch because you just need to see some of the reactions. Check out our show. We had Kalia Capri from All Caribbean Wrestling, talked about Baja Bash, and just a lot of wild surprises because, it's not every day. You know what? I know she's going to get me for this. But TK Trinidad, our boss, our host, she runs the whole thing. I'm kind of giving her the Ric Flair 1985 schedule. Now, you have to go back in time to understand what that means because Flair in 85 was always on a plane, always traveling somewhere to defend his title, was not on, the show all the time. So when he was on, it was a very special moment. And that's what Wednesday was. Ric Flair showed up to WWT Live, and it was definitely a thing. Now, when Flair will be back to defend the championship, I don't know, because right now Flair is in Toronto. So go figure. That's what a world champion does, But with that said, we're holding down the fort, and I want to get into what we left off with Wednesday evening, and that was the debut of Wrestlemania XL, Behind the Curtain. We've been waiting for this documentary, which was talking about the story of how we got to the main event of WrestleMania 40. There have been a lot of theories out there in terms of, how we got there, what was the original plan, all of the things. Well, it's been about close to 48 hours, already 1.5 million views on YouTube of this documentary alone. Councilman, I need to know, did you check out this documentary? And if you did, what were your takeaways? Because the IWC is talking.
Yes, I did watch it to answer your first question. And first of all, I'm just glad I was right. Before this documentary came out, we talked about it. We had a lot of speculation of just like, they always said Cody was going to win Royal Rumble. I'm like, no, there's no way he was going to win the Royal Rumble twice back to back. The matches we could have got if it wasn't for them crybabies. And again, I'm trying to keep it PG. I'm gonna try to toe the line. We had some bangers we would have got. But I will say, though, from how they pivot and move to what they originally had to how stuff had to formulate, this just shows you, I think, and this is just in my opinion, I think it shows you just the hands that we're in when it comes to moving into this new era. And I think that, just because of everything that did happen, I believe that they did handle it flawlessly, in just my opinion. My opinion, I think they pivoted the right way, did what needed to be done, and I'm glad that it was able to be shown now through the documentary of just like how this really went.
Yeah, this is interesting, and of course, as we talk about this, things start getting loaded. Now, I said we could have another elected official. I didn't know that saying his name would bring his arch rival to the table. Dayla is in the building.
Oh, wow.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Didn't realize I was his arch rival. I'm more of his conscience, and I guess he doesn't like his conscience, so that's fair.
Oh, okay. That is a fair assessment. And of course, sugar and spice and everything nice and a wee bit of honey makes it all better. Wrestling with Honey's in the building. Honey, how are you?
Hey guys, sorry I'm so late.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. You guys
I
are here.
I was a little too relaxed this Friday. A little too relaxed.
Well,
that's a good thing.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Very good. We like that. So Jacob, let me start with you. Did you get a chance to watch the WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain documentary? And if you did, what were your takeaways?
No, I haven't. It's on my docket for some weekend watching. But I've seen the clips and the memes of The Rock already hitting him with that LeBron James lying treatment, which I think is great. But I'm interested to see. I've seen some people say they went a little too far behind the curtain, pulled a little bit too much back. And I just heard Councilman Farrell giving his thoughts on things right when I tuned in. And I mean, you had to pivot, right? You couldn't be that tone deaf in this era to just go full speed ahead. Now, if it was a certain McMahon running things, then yeah, we probably would have. But come on, we'll be all right. We'll run it back in 6 months or so.
But here's what I will say. We'll get to that later on. There is a downside to them listening to the people, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit.
I'm interested in that. Honey, did you get a chance to check out this documentary? I know you were waiting for it, and if you did, what were your takeaways?
I have been waiting for it, and I'm still kind of waiting on it. I haven't seen it just yet because your girls out here being a busy bee and hustling. So I was just trying to keep everything in the honey pot together. But I have, like Dayla said, I have seen some clips and memes and things. And obviously we witnessed the magic of that weekend, up close, and it was really, I can't wait to still see it. But like Farrell said, there is a downside to not listening to the people, and I was one of those people that they did not listen to.
So I will say, for everybody who has not seen it, you absolutely should go back and see it, because I don't think that the clips that are on social media do it justice. This is really one of those scenarios where, watching everything in context really gives new light and understanding to this. Now, I'm in kind of a catch-22 because I don't want to give too much away since Honey and Jacob haven't seen it. But I do want to make sure we touch on a couple of things. And that is, for one, the challenge that I think Triple H and the team there was presented with, which was, okay, we could run it back for Roman and Cody, or we've got the perfect scenario, the perfect timing for Rock and Roman. And Rock and Roman was in the bag to the point where, and this to me was the interesting piece, because we've heard a lot of things. Apparently, the decision for Rock and Roman was made before the Royal Rumble.
I heard that too, since October.
Yeah, and so Cody was made aware when he went to walk out that indeed Roman versus Rock was the plan. So it now makes you wonder, when Cody pointed up to Roman, was he going into business for himself? Was he, just kind of trying to lead everybody along?
As much.
I mean, it's interesting.
Crybabies do crybaby things.
Well, and then there's that, right? Like, I'm torn because I'm torn for a few reasons. One, I know that there were a lot of people who felt like Cody deserved this match, and I'm not going to say he didn't. However, being a person who lived through the fact that we never got Sting and Undertaker at WrestleMania, living through the fact that we never got Hogan Flair at WrestleMania, in my mind, you have to strike while the iron is hot. There is the possibility, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Rock, but we thought Rock and Roman was going to happen last year. And when we didn't get it last year, it made sense. This is the 40th WrestleMania. No, it's not in Hollywood, but all the stars are aligning. It just made sense to do. And Cody is still healthy. Cody could turn around and still fight at WrestleMania 41. You throw in the CM Punk factor, that Punk, which again, this is actually interesting, and I'm giving a bit away here, but they said the original plan, and the original plan was Rock, Roman,
right,
and then Seth and Punk, which means there theoretically was not a main event plan for Cody Rhodes,
and
which is interesting.
And you know who Cody was supposed to face at WrestleMania, which would have still been a great match for Cody.
Remind me of that.
Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was supposed to fight.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that with Punk out of the picture right after Royal Rumble, there was a strong case that could have been made for Cody versus Seth, which would have still put Cody in a main event. Still likely put Cody as a champion, since Seth was likely going to be going out. Still could have given us Roman versus Rock, but that didn't happen. Councilman, I want to get your thoughts, because you alluded to the fact that there could be some issues with listening to the people. But before you do that, from one elected official to another, we balance things out. Of course, the mayor's
There's no balance now. This isn't balance.
Oh, Lord. Said, how are you, kind sir?
I am doing phenomenal. I'm sorry. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late, but I see I had a good understudy in my 15 minutes of absence with Mr. DeLawrence. Thank you for joining.
So said, let me ask you this. Were you the opportunity? Did you have the opportunity to watch this documentary? And if you did, what were your thoughts?
I haven't gotten to the full thing yet, but just following along on the socials with everybody's reactions into like why it was so late. Kind of like the lingering response from the whole who killed WCW, with I guess Rock's genuinity throughout all of this. But like a lot of the tea leaves are pretty interesting because it's exactly what I think a lot of us fans said it was when initially we kind of pulled the rug and it was supposed to be Rock versus Roman. One thing that I feel like people are missing is that, yes, they pivoted and they gave us probably the greatest main event of all time. But if Dwayne really wanted the main event, and like nobody could really tell him otherwise, at least I don't think, if he really wanted to do it.
Sure. He's on the board.
Yeah.
You know,
he could have totally played that whole card and be like, hey, this is what we're doing this year. I want to do it this year.
Right. And so it does say a lot. And I know there are some who have their opinions about The Rock, but I think it does say a lot that he was willing to say, okay, what's really best for business, and that everybody was able to kind of move with this at one time. So I think this is interesting. Okay, so Councilman, you were alluding to the fact of the potential issue of listening to the people. Do tell.
Oh yeah, because if you so although switching this was great, pivoting was great, but now we look at the fact of the fans pushing this and how it's starting it gave us like Cedric said, the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. But I still say Cody was not ready for this, and y'all strategically backed him into a corner because, like you said, him versus Seth would have been great. But the fact that now this alluded to, he can't have the World Heavyweight Championship. He got to have the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now he has to beat Roman. It started stacking now these things of him instead of just finishing the story. And now look where it puts him. He's on SmackDown. None of his real rivals are on SmackDown. All of his best matches he could have had is on Raw. And then look how they've now been booking him. Your first 2 title defenses was AJ Styles. That was one of your big ones that you should have had saved. Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. No build up, no anything, nor have they really even been building AJ Styles as a villain. Like, he's a heel now, and it's like, why didn't you give me the beat up John Cena AJ Styles with the OC? You haven't given us that. There's no real big developing story when it comes to the WWE Championship. And now even look at as we move into Money in the Bank, you're not defending the title. Now you're being thrown in with the bloodline story, and then even 2 of the top contenders that could have fought for your title, which is Kevin Owens or Randy, you're now pit with them. You're not booking him properly because you did not really have a plan for Cody. Cody should have remained on Raw and been able to shine on Raw.
Hold on. You talk about not booking properly and not having a plan. Let's say we go Rocky Roman, right? The match doesn't need a belt, but let's say we go Rocky Roman for the title. Let's say Rock wins. What's your out? What's your plan then? What are you going to do? So that's
Rock wouldn't win. We already know Rock wouldn't win.
So let's go Roman. What do you do with Roman other than give us more of this? You can't go Cody after you just went Rock Roman. It's a letdown. Second of all, you did Cody Roman the year before. It was set up perfect to run it back. The World Heavyweight title is the B title. The whole finish the story. If you would have put Rock Roman and then because of Punk's injury shifted Cody Seth, we saw that 3 times already. We already know how that story ends. Nothing new here. Put it in Mania again, a little higher stakes, still going to be the same end result. It's going to feel cheap, and it's not going to satisfy the fans or anybody. You made the best call, and you say Cody doesn't have any challengers. Did you forget how the start of Roman's reign went? No pun intended. It was very subpar, very heat up one person for a month. Like, they did Cesaro for a quick in and out. Like, let's be honest.
Also, but let's also throw the caveat that's in there, sir. We were doing a pandemic. No one was there.
Okay, when we came out of the pandemic, it was still heat. It was in, out, and then Roman was like, cool, I'll see you in 2 months. Give me Brock. Like, that was Roman. It was literally Brock and Cody and a couple one-offs and KO twice in 7.
So we just bypassing Edge and Daniel Bryan, the triple threat match where he stacked them boys up? That wasn't a classic?
That was because of listening to the fans that also got us into that spot.
Again, and then I know that we have positive sides, but there's also the downfall sides.
Okay.
There was still no buildup from the year of this happening.
So not to take a shot at Sid, but to paraphrase Jay-Z, one hot match every 5 match average is what? Still mid? Like, come on. We had the triple threat. You had Hell in a Cell with Jay. You had Hell in a Cell with Jay. You had the Cody match, the KO match, the Seth match. That's 5 matches out of a 4-year reign? Like, come on.
Wait, are you saying you're saying Roman had 5 decent matches?
No, I'm saying 5 notable. There are some good ones, but if you ask somebody the highlights of Roman's reign, again, no pun intended, in the name of the matches, those are probably the ones that come to mind.
So we're not hold on. Let me just so you saying
John diminishing the last 3 years of one of the greatest stories ever told? Like I don't know.
I'm saying it's a great story.
I think he's saying it's more story than actual in-ring classic is what he's trying to allude to. Not saying I agree or disagree, but back to Cody really quick, because somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody's saying that Cody felt blindsided, backdoor and all this. Isn't it his fault that he brought this on himself? Because I read somewhere that he wasn't supposed to do the point after winning the Rumble.
Yeah, no, he said it. Well, that's busted open that he went into business for himself.
Yeah, that's what, and that's one of the things that the documentary kind of alludes to, is that he was the only one that was told that the plan right before, like literally before he went out for Rumble, he was the only one told that the plan was Rock and Roman. So him pointing at Roman shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. But I will say this. I mean, let me just say, I think this was a great case of them working on the fly and taking a lemon and making it lemonade and giving us so many amazing moments through this that we might not have gotten if they went with the original plan of Rock and Roman. Whether this was the tag team match, the Vegas kickoff with the slap heard around the world, it gave us the final boss, right? We got the whipping scene outside in the rain. I mean, like we got some moments out of this. I will say this. I think one of the things that Cody brings to the table as the WWE champion that Roman and I guess his character and tenure did not do is we finally have on the WWE side a goodwill ambassador as a world champion. You can take Cody anywhere, whether it's media appearances, Make-A-Wish foundations, you know, the random things that he's doing to make sure that random fans are okay. I saw something on Twitter just the other day about a fan who I guess didn't have special needs seating or whatever, and he went and took care of that and ensured, you know, whether it's him getting the tickets for the wrestling club to go to WrestleMania. I mean, he is that goodwill guy who will stay to the very end and, you know, sign autographs. And I think after 4 years of a champion who would not do that, having somebody that will do that, I think goes a long, long way for the WWE. So I think this is one of those cases where whoever ends up as your champion, WWE is proving that it is about more than just the matches. And Triple H had a very interesting quote somewhere in the last week or so, where he said that WWE is a movie that incorporates sport as opposed to just being sport. And so that, with that said, the story element is important. And, you know, the bloodline story for the last 3 years doesn't hit the same without Roman as the center, you know, and Roman, even as a center, sets up where we are now with the bloodline. So I think it's interesting either way. This is a great documentary for you guys to go and check out. So by all means, go ahead and check it out. It is on the WWE YouTube page, so you can find it there. And trust me, it's a great hour that you guys will absolutely enjoy. Now, speaking of this,
either way, I was robbed.
Right. So you're telling me there's a multiverse where Damian Priest cashes in on Cody at Mania?
I don't think the cash-in happens.
I don't think the cash-in would have happened either.
Because
I think it would have. I think it would have happened on Drew. Maybe not Cody, but Drew. Mm-hmm. Drew would have probably beaten Cody or something like that.
Well, Seth, it would have made sense for Seth to get his lick back and beat Cody at WrestleMania. That would have made sense.
Right? And then, the cash in could have happened actually.
Yeah,
because Damian said he wanted to cash in on Seth, so that actually would have worked perfectly if Seth would have retained. And then that's the only
problem with that is another Cody loss at Mania and another failed chance to get a world title. You don't get to
it would have made the Royal Rumble pointless.
That too.
True.
It's very interesting.
I got robbed twice that night.
I'm agreeing with Seth.
Oh, I know. I got robbed twice that night.
It's about time you do. It's about time you do.
Robbed.
Well, let's see if we can get some agreement on ESPN and their power rankings. They've already done power rankings for the first half of 2024, and it's very interesting to see what they've come up with. They did rankings for women, men, tag team, and factions in terms of who's kind of been the best in 2024 already. And again, this is looking exclusively at the first half of 2024. And so leading the way on the women's side is Bayley, which might come as a surprise to some. And so certainly they say that had Rhea Ripley not been injured, she probably would have been number one on this, but of course her injury comes right after WrestleMania, and this puts Bayley in a great spot. Here's kind of how the top 10 for the women's power ranking for ESPN goes. Bayley's at number one, followed by Toni Storm, Jordynne Grace, Mercedes Moné, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Willow Nightingale, Mayu Iwatani, Roxanne Perez, and Rhea Ripley. So before we get to the men and to the others, what were your thoughts on the ESPN power rankings with Bayley at number one? And honey, we'll start with you with all of these, dare I say, shades on?
Yeah. The library's open, so my shades are on. Congratulations to Bayley. Not sure if I agree with the entire list, but I think this is really, really, really cool for ESPN to, do these kinds of rankings and stuff, just to see where we're at in the women's division. Toni Storm is definitely a valid spot. Not sure about Mercedes, but I feel like she could be a little bit higher in that, or lower actually in that rank. Like I would give her maybe lucky number 7. But just to put that out there. But Bayley, I'm not. I'm gonna need to see a little bit more from Bayley coming up in this year as well. I mean, they kind of slowed down a little bit on her storyline, which I'm a little bit worried about. Little bit worried about. Hopefully, something transpires maybe tonight on SmackDown when we do the watch along. But yeah, kudos to Bayley. Just had to make sure I made some points on the side there.
Said, man, what did you think about this ranking, the power ranking for the women? And I'm sure you are excited about the high ranking for Mercedes Moné in the first 6 months, even though she only wrestled in May and June.
First things first, it's a copycat league. We started doing rankings. Now everybody want to do rankings, but shout out to the worldwide leader getting on the trend there. But I know Marcus and Andreas and those boys doing good work over there. So glad to see them getting more involved. And it's cool to see that they're not just doing the 2 top promotions, but incorporating all promotions in their rankings as well. I don't have a problem with the list whatsoever. Actually, Bayley makes perfect sense. Royal Rumble winner, Mania moment, becoming champion. I think those 2 accolades kind of speak volumes to everybody else in the rankings. I think you'll see more people incorporated, but I think they hit, when you talk about the first 6 months of the year, I think they hit pretty much everybody in their moments pretty well.
Yeah. Jacob, any thoughts on this list?
Yeah, honestly, I would not have Mercedes in my top 10. Like, she's on the list, and I feel like it's largely based off of just name carries weight. It's it's Mercedes Moné. It's the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks. Like, we know what she's good for, but let's keep it a buck. She showed up. Them promos weren't really hidden. The theme music wasn't hidden. It took her a while for footing. Like I said, she only wrestled once, twice.
Oh, she's wrestled more than twice.
6 months.
She's wrestled more than twice. Actually, she's done more wrestling on TV in these last couple of weeks than we've seen.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks it's picked up, but you're looking at a whole 6 months, and it's like this is also recency bias. Yeah, she's gotten hot since Double or Nothing. She's been putting on matches. She had a banger at Forbidden Door, but it's like, dog, what'd you do before then? Jordynne Grace has had a hell of a 6 months. Rumble, NXT, carrying the flag and Impact and doing the thing over there as well. And I get why Grace sits, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, number 3. I get number why, 3. Because honestly, ask somebody to go find TNA on TV and good luck finding access. Like, I get it. So it's a limited availability. You can't see her out of sight, out of mind, but good rep and props to putting her on the list. I would honestly sit Toni Storm at number 1 just over Bayley. Toni Storm has had a hell of a year. That is great character work, plus pretty solid in-ring, a few moments. But like we said, Bayley had the great build up to Mania and the Mania moment, but since then it's kind of been a little.
It's given Io Sky after winning the Money in the Bank. It's like, okay, where are we going?
It's been real tap.
Been a little mid. Been a little mid.
It's crazy, especially after all the hype from her winning the Rumble and everybody was like, finally Bayley's getting that shine. I mean, Bayley, don't get me wrong, Bayley's had her prime moments and her shine, but this version of Bayley is a different level. But I mean, after the Rumble, then it was like, okay, Bayley's there. They're building her up to that. She's going to be a favorite to win in WrestleMania. Then she wins at WrestleMania, and then it's like, where is she?
Councilman, let me ask you this. Since there is fair conversation here about Bayley and where she has been post-Mania, what do you think needs to happen for Bayley in the next 6 months to make a #1 ranking at the end of the year justified?
She needs to put on bangers of matches. Like right now, you have Liv that's handling the storyline very well as women's world champion with the Dominic stuff. So her matches don't have to be insanely over the top and like give us 4 or 5 star matches. Like the story is doing well. I think for Bayley needs to do the opposite. Bayley needs to give us some bangers of matches, and she needs to be able to start showing why that SmackDown women's roster is something to not be messed with. I think that, and the fact that her last like defenses, she still kind of seems like she's fighting like a heel. Like the last 2 title defenses she's had, it's been kind of like a roll up defeat type of thing. It's never been like this clean, solid finisher and then for her to win. So I haven't really been seeing, it's just been kind of just like this. Like I said, it's just sitting on medium. But I will say I'll give her, being #1 on the list, and also too that Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale should be switched on this list as well.
And Jordan Grace too. Jordan Grace needs to be at least like #2, 3.
Yeah,
well,
and
Tony's #3 behind Tony Storm.
And Tony Storm didn't get it. Is not her fault. That's AEW's fault, because you're putting the TBS championship over the women's title, which doesn't give her the spotlight like she's supposed to have. She's supposed to be the top of the division, which is why I see why she's.
That's the name carries more weight than Tony Storm deal. That's what that is, unfortunately.
Professor, isn't it kind of ironic that they all had issues with Bayley being ranked 1, considering where they ranked her as a 4 horsewoman?
Oh no! Oh, that's why I'm glad you know.
I find that very, very ironic. Just want to throw that out there.
Second best.
The ranking didn't lie. She comes before Mercedes.
I'm just saying, my #1 4 horsewoman made Jaws hot. That's all I'm saying.
I've always called her #2, so I don't know what you're acting like this is a surprise for.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you just say Monet made Bayley?
I stand by this, what I said on the show that one time. Take the 3 best matches, and Mercedes is opposite of that. All 3 of them.
Right, but there's an argument to say Bayley made her turn up as well, correct? So I would say they made each other.
Oh boy,
Mercedes was Sasha was the bigger character in NXT during that time.
I'm gonna be the responsible one. We're women's wrestling. We're women's wrestling talk. We gotta not put the women against each other, and I'll leave it at that.
We may revisit this because we still want to get to the other element of the power rankings, and that is on the men's side, which I think the #1 on the men's side is very interesting given the discussion we've already had here today. And #1 on the men's side is the current WWE champion, Cody Rhodes.
Of course it is.
The rest of that top 10 looks like this. It's Cody Rhodes at #1, followed by Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Gunther, Drew McIntyre, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Damian Priest, Kazuchika Okada, and MJF.
Where's my
honey? Any thoughts on this top 10 list on the men's
Who
side?
made this list? That's my question.
It's the crew from ESPN.
It's ESPN that made this list. Say those names again.
It
was Cody Rhodes, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland,
Gunther, Drew McIntyre, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Damian Priest, Kazuchika Okada, and MJF.
I feel like having Cody as #1 is obvious, like for everybody. It's like, okay, I would actually, I would put, I don't know. Congrats to Cody.
Ooh.
Wow. What's the top 3 again?
Wow. Your top 3 are Cody Rhodes, Will Ospreay, and Swerve Strickland.
I'm flustered.
Not for no reason, but Mox would be number 2 for me.
Really?
I think nobody's doing what he's doing as far as keeping New Japan afloat here in the States as far as a recognition standpoint. And we know he just lost it, but I'm saying just the people go to shows here in the States because there's some recognition of knowing the stars. Mox is a big part of that. And he's Mr. Reliable with AEW all the time. I think he's very deserving of I think he's 4, right? Not 5?
No, Moxley is
6.
6.
Yeah, he didn't do anything all year.
You think about 6 months. Yeah, in the 6 months, he hasn't really had an
did
impact.
Nothing.
It's not about impact, it's about the reliability. He's here year round.
Not a lot
of time. About the first 6 months of 2024.
2 promotions. 2 promotions, keeping him afloat.
Dog, he did a little stint in CMLL for a quick mini feud, and then won a belt, defended it a couple times, and dropped it. He just got hot. That's why I don't know why MJF is on this list when he just showed up. Like of the past 6 months,
that's what I don't understand.
Mox had the premier New Japan title when they didn't have a star.
Right? Where's Dominic Mysterio?
How is Dominic Mysterio not on here?
You can put CM Punk on this list before you put MJF.
And Drew, like I would put him at least at number 3, 4, and like Swerve number 1 or 2.
So
like
Drew, let me go over the list again. From top to bottom, Cody's number 1. Will Ospreay is 2. Swerve Strickland is 3. Gunther is 4. Drew McIntyre is 5. Moxley is 6. Bryan Danielson is 7. Damian Priest is 8. Kazuchika Okada is 9. And MJF is 10.
Now I know this
Drew should be number 2.
I know it's a big stretch, but he should somewhat be on here for these 6 months. Why is Joe Hendry not on this list? that man has had a phenomenal 6 months right now. That man has skyrocketed.
He hasn't won anything. If you've watched TNA,
okay, I'll give you that.
The digital media title, he hasn't won.
He just entered into the main event for Slammiversary last night.
Yeah, which is, even though it was filmed in June, it's technically July. But the point is, he hadn't really won much till recently. First 6 months, he just got hot, which is great job for him doing that in Impact and everything. But again, MJF, take him off. You can put CM Punk on at that point. I mean, Punk had a great 6 months being injured.
Not Punk, but I'll say Sammy. I'll put Sammy over MJF at 10.
But if you're going off somebody who's injured and just came back, Punk is injured and has been around terrorizing Drew. I'd put that over MJF, who just came back, had a couple matches.
No love for the Yeet Master either. Don't like that.
I can't believe I made that argument, but at some point he's got to win.
Yeah,
I mean, but
win.
I mean, but can the same thing be said for Cody? He didn't win until April.
Rumble,
and
Mania.
I think less than 5 times he's lost clean. Maybe like 3.
Cody?
Yeah.
That's something like that. Sounds right.
My number 1 would be Will Ospreay, believe it or not. And
what?
You put Ospreay over Cody?
Yes, here's why.
Ospreay over Gunther?
And Swerve? That's crazy to me.
Yes, because Swerve got stuck in a holding pattern going into Joe. It got hot with Joe, and we were good. And it's been good to kind of a little disrespectful at best how they've handled Swerve.
So you gonna skip past Hangman? Him and Hangman didn't.
That wasn't this 6 months. That wasn't this year. That wrapped up in November.
Oh, you meant the 6 months. Oh, you meant the 6 months. Oh, okay. I thought you meant all around for his stuff.
No, I don't like this list. I don't like this list.
Here's why I say Ospreay. Because before he left New Japan, I don't know if anybody. Wow, Dylan. Wow. Wow.
That's a shirt.
For those who were listening,
make that a hashtag. Make that a hashtag.
Dylan said delusional. Yeah.
Wow.
Delusional.
That's a good one. But no, before Ospreay left New Japan, he had a match of the year contender that nobody is talking about in that cage match of United Empire versus Bullet Club War Dogs.
That's fair.
You want to see a banger from a physical violence standpoint, that is an hour and about 15 minutes, 10 minutes of just pure let's go, give it all we got. That was a banger. Leading into that, he had bangers in New Japan. He's put on quality matches, and for a man who's never been that great of a promo and character, he's finally starting to round it out. So I would give Ospreay number 1 right now. Cody would be 2 because he finished the story. Swerve would be 3 because he got the win, but after that, it's been kind of subpar handling a Swerve, and I feel like that's hurt him. You had the Christian feud, which was great, but you also had that man opening up Dynamite, and that's it. It's like, all right, cool. There's Owen now. He's going. It's like, oh, if you show up late, you just missed the world champ. He's defending. He's early. It's like, come on. The EVP storyline took more precedent over your world champ, and it's like you just got a black world champ, Tony. You've been hammered for handling racial things of certain ways, and now it's like, come on. So Swerve would get 3. Gunther probably rounds out 5, and I put Drew over Gunther because Drew's just been on a heater. And he did technically win a world title. And Gunther's kind of just been in a holding stage since he dropped the IC title and won King of the Ring. It's like, all right, we just got to make it to SummerSlam. And then
another robbery.
Get Okada off the list.
Yeah, I don't know why Okada's on here. I don't know why he's on here.
No argument there. Yeah, no.
I don't know what's happening. Too. I don't like this list.
Where my gift at? Where my gift at? My favorite
there's
one.
Still more to this list that I'm going to try to move kind of fast because we haven't moved very far. There's a tag team list on here as well. And topping the tag team list are the Young Bucks. Here's how the rest of this list looks. It's the Young Bucks followed by FTR, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, Nathan Fraser and Axiom, A-Town Down Under, Bianca and Jade, DIY, the Street Profits, House of Black, and the Acclaimed.
Preposterous.
This makes me question if people actually watch the product.
All right, hold on. Let me get mine in real quick because I got a feeling they really finna all have something to say. Let's keep it a buck. Tag team wrestling ain't been that great this year across the board. Let's keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck, no pun intended. I mean, you probably would have put Sting and Darby on here if Sting was still wrestling and Darby didn't, be a human crash test dummy. That was the best tag team going, but let's keep it a buck. It's been a down part first 6 months of tag team wrestling. You had the Judgment Day holding up those belts. You split them. R-Truth and Miz did their thing, but it got old quick. A-Town Down Under. What are we doing here with them? Like, get the belts, give it a DIY. Let's keep it pushing. It's been a down bit for I guess you give it to Judgment Day just because, but like FTR has been kind of all right, cool. We had the banger with the Bucks at Dynasty, but it's been a down 6 months for tag team wrestling. Now y'all can kill the list. Go right ahead because I want to hear this.
Y'all want to talk about the tag team piece, or do you want to talk about the next part of the list? Because there's another list.
This list is frustrating.
I definitely don't think the Bucks should be number 1. I think if anything, when you have unified tag team champions like the Judgment Day were for a majority of the year, there's no way they shouldn't be 1.
Right.
I don't even know how you put JD in there because didn't him and Finn just
won the title?
They just became, I would have rather like Damian and Finn. Like
it should just say Judgment Day.
I would have just said Judgment Day and called it a day.
Yeah. Not for nothing, and no love for the OC, like the
OC ain't got love for the OC.
You might be alone on that OC love.
Hold on. The guns, the guns aren't on there.
No, the Acclaimed.
Good point.
Not even the Acclaimed. Look at that.
The Acclaimed's number 10 on this list.
That's technically because they're trio champions, right? The Bang Bang.
House of Black is ahead of them. Yeah.
House of Black ain't even a tag team. That just stinks. This I don't like this list either.
Yeah.
Here's the real thing. Bianca and Jade should have been higher than almost all of these.
They definitely should have been at like number 2, number 1 at least.
Oh, they didn't separate the men and the women?
No. Bianca and Jade is number 6 on this list.
Okay. I'm happy that they're ranked still nonetheless.
They're the only women too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's strange.
Well, and let's round it out because there's one more list on here, and the list also deals with factions. So we've had men, women, we've had tag teams and factions, and topping the list of the factions.
You best believe it. Finally, they get something right.
They got it right.
It's the Bloodline. Now, it goes like this: the Bloodline, the Judgment Day, the Elite, the BCC, the Don Callis family, Wyatt Six is in here, the Bang Bang Gang, Damage Control, House of Black, and LIJ.
This one I ain't too mad.
Thoughts on?
I got a few ones I'd move, but this one ain't
House
bad.
of Black could move up a little bit more for me.
House of Black could definitely move up.
I mean, it was a 3-horse race. It's the Elite, Judgment Day, or the Bloodline. So Don Callis family, unless you're watching Ring of Honor, they ain't really doing much unless you're gonna give Ospreay. You're gonna take Ospreay's success and put it on with them. He just technically left the family. Putting the Wyatt Six on here is a very interesting choice. Like, love the storyline. It was a lot of teases, but like they just showed up and they just killed somebody who came back 3 days later. Like, I think them at 10 if we're gonna put them on the list.
I think it's more so about what the Wyatt Six entering in. I think it's more so about impact with them. And I even said it on the live stream. That's definitely going to go down as one of the moments of the year. Like to create that kind of impact with all of the promotion and all of the anticipation and build up to get there, and how many people were actually invested in following the rabbit hole of these QR codes and everything. I would definitely have them on this list. And they haven't even done a thing, which is very telling of what could come out of them when they actually do something. Because like they're like
it's not one moment. It's not one moment in 6 months. Like,
no, it's been weekly.
It's been 6 months of us waiting for.
They've only had one appearance, but
all the interactions. Yeah, come on, bro. All the
okay,
interactions.
so I teased something and I stuck the landing. That doesn't put me in the top 10 for 6 months when House of Black has been killing it. Cool. If you put them in the top 10, because yes, it was a very difficult thing to tease this properly the way they did for as long as they did and to stick the landing, but that doesn't put you over Bang Bang Gang, Damage Control, maybe, sure. LIJ, no argument there, but House of Black, the bell has to ring. This whole list includes ring, story, everything. You can't just come in, have one moment, knock it out the park, and just be like, hey, we're top 6, top 5.
You keep calling it one moment, and it's not just one moment, though. You can't.
Okay, one payoff moment, one big moment of payoff. The payoff was it
was an appearance. They've had multiple.
I would call it a reveal more than anything, but I think what he's trying to convey is that people have been actually in ring working. I'm curious. There's no New Japan faction. I would put
LIJ is the New Japan.
LIJ, but I would put TDMK on there. I just saw them win the tag belts at Resurgence and the stuff that Zack Saber's doing as well. I think they deserve to at least have an appearance on the list.
War Dogs could have been on the list.
Well, let's have a conversation about the system from TNA. They have all the championships and have
that too. Months. That is, matter of fact, interesting that you mentioned that.
What about the Black Combat Club? Are they a part of Don Callis?
No, the Blackpool Combat Club, BCC. They are on this list. They are number 4.
Oh, okay.
They're number 4.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is this.
I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Make sure to get that right.
There is one tribal chief. So again, it's the first 6 months, and it's a great article. You know, they also talk about who could potentially end the year strong. And so I think that's pretty awesome. Great work there from our friends at ESPN. All right, we're going to move through a couple of other things very, very quickly before we get to our time of predictions. But we want to shout out a word from our sponsor.
Have you heard the news? It's pretty big. I heard from my friend who heard from her friend all the way from the Caribbean. Well, when I heard from my friend, I became super excited. And I think you guys will like it too. WWT now has an official partner, and it's All Caribbean Wrestling, the premier promotion across the Caribbean. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views, or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials. on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling, and on X at All Caribbean WR1. No, you make sure you go and check them out and tell them WWT sent you. You hear me?
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
She about to make me fight y'all.
Don't make her fight. And remember, you can scan the QR code on the upper right hand side to check out some of the great merch. So we're going to move through a couple of other quick stories before we get into our predictions for the weekend. Interesting story right now about Ethan Page, who is getting ready to be in his second consecutive main event of a PLE since coming over to NXT. And he did a recent conversation with Shop, and he said about his time in AEW versus NXT. This is what he said. He said, quote, "I went from somewhere that was so chaotic and unorganized to a place that, I'm still learning because I'm so new here, but this is a machine and it's incredible. It feels good to not feel like I have to do everything myself. To have people that want me to succeed is kind of mind-blowing." That's a pretty amazing quote coming from a veteran of multiple years who, of course, just finished up a run over in AEW. And again, this kind of echoes the sentiments of one Jade Cargill when she made the jump over from AEW to WWE. So I think this is pretty amazing, all things considered. So speaking of AEW, let's have a very brief conversation about this interaction that happened Wednesday night on Dynamite as Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, made her way into the ring for her first bit of conversation since we hadn't seen her in almost a year. She explained her absence, talked about her nerves and the like, was interrupted by Mercedes Moné with both of her belts and a celebration. And it led to a very interesting interaction between the two, where some say that Britt actually cooked Mercedes. Did you guys watch this segment? And what did you think about this? And then after that, I'm going to tell you what Tommy Dreamer had to say as well. Honey, what did you think about this segment and interaction between Mercedes and Britt Baker?
I didn't see everything in this segment, but I do know that it cooked for sure. I have to actually go back and watch this episode because I just want to see the entire segment. I wish we had a clip of it, but I know for sure that this match is definitely probably going to be one of the highest anticipated women's matches. I've been waiting for Britt Baker to resurface and return, and I really want them to cook in this match. I just want it to be good, and I want Mercedes to actually have a great showing as well, because I feel like this is probably one of her real main threats, in AEW, being that Britt Baker has been one of the ones from the very beginning.
Jacob, your thoughts on this segment if you had a chance to see it?
Yeah, I saw it. I really wish they would just find a new word.
Well,
I feel like they leaned on that just a little too much. Like, it's felt like a crutch at a certain point. Great shots back and forth. Should be a good match, but I feel sorry for the household of Britt Baker and Adam Cole, because they have had the worst, roughest year and a half or so that I've seen between two wrestlers that happen to be a couple in a while. A mini stroke, herniated disc, Cole with his concussions, the ankle. I don't know what the universe is telling y'all. Y'all might want to sit down and reconsider some things, but I'm just glad to see them back though.
So I want to ask this question first to you, Councilman, and that's this. Tommy Dreamer was on an episode recently of Busted Open, and he said that putting these two women together is the biggest money match for AEW's women's division as of right now. Do you agree with him or not, as this match is slated to happen at All In London?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree with Tommy Dreamer. This right now is probably your biggest match you can have right now of anything you have set up. When is All In again?
All In is end of August. End of August.
Okay, yeah, no, this right now is your biggest one. You have the one that was here when it was nothing and helped build that division to I won't say the greatest, but definitely can be considered into the top 10 of greatest women wrestlers in Mercedes Moné. And I won't say Britt Baker cooked, but I will not say she fully cooked Moné. Moné did hold her own, but it did kind of give a hint away of that. I don't think she's gotten used to being able to curse in her promos. Like, I think she's still getting adjusted to where it's like, okay, I don't have to talk like I'm in WWE no more. And I think once she finally settles that back in, it'll be a little bit better. But yeah, to Tommy Dreamer's point, this is your number one. And if he was crazy as he says he is, I would even make this your main event, depending on who you have going against Swerve.
We'll find out the winner of the Owen tournament on the men's side. That's who will face Swerve. But there are a few comments that I think are interesting over here. And one of them comes from Dylan, who says, is this feud too soon?
Yes. Yeah.
Said, do you think this feud? Do you think this feud is too soon for both Mercedes and Britt Baker?
No, not at all. And I would argue both women need it this early to get it out the way. At worst, you make this a trilogy. You have one of the golden children from the WWE machine and the best homegrown women's AEW talent in Britt Baker. This train wreck was bound to happen sooner rather than later. So you do it at your biggest show of the year. I think they should definitely rinse our mouths clean of last year, where I think the women's match, the only women's match, I think it was 13 minutes. I don't remember I remember the controversy. I don't remember exactly how long, but they should really make a spectacle out of this match, because this is their two big stars, homegrown talent and somebody that you want to carry the brand to newer heights in the women's division. It just makes sense to do it. And then hopefully run it back a few more times. Think about how big, Omega and Bryan is. It's like it's going to have like that type of effect, but for the women's division.
You could make the argument that this is potentially the biggest women's match in AEW history.
Absolutely.
Can I address another elephant in the room real quick?
Go ahead.
If you guys are watching us visually on this podcast, I just want to address an elephant in the room. If you see that gentleman to the left of DMD, if you can't sunbathe in the summer without suntan lotion, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not buy that shirt. Do not make yourself visible with that shirt on television. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. That's all. So it's been staring at me this entire time.
I was just gonna say that I hope, like, being that All In is in August, right? Late August.
Yes.
We're going,
yes.
And it is their biggest event of the year, and this is probably one of the potentially most one of the most biggest women's matches in AEW history to happen. I just want them to, my worry is that I just want them to stir that gumbo really well and let it simmer and let's get us a good meal come August once it's set on the table. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to both be able to go back and forth. I need that Seth and CM Punk kind of interaction, that kind of hatred, a little some animosity and some spice. I want it to be right. I don't want Tony Khan fake TK to just, throw these girls together and say, here, wrestle, and we'll pick a winner, and we'll see what, and Mercedes is gonna go over, and Britt Baker's putting you over. Like, no, I want it to be tough, because by the time we get to All In, I want to be able to hear the audience and not understand what acronyms you're saying. Like, I want to hear like how it was when Y2J faced HBK and you could not understand what the crowd was saying. Like, I need DMD versus CEO. Like, really, really, like, I need them to go crazy and want to blow off of the place.
Now you know how he can make this even bigger, right?
Give it a stipulation.
Throw Timeless Tony Storm in there. Triple threat match. Who is the top? Who really stands here? Because this is now turned into the perfect time for her to come intervene. Like, I'm sick of y'all acting like I ain't here. Like, I'm not the top person. I'm getting sick of y'all right now. But I know she got that Owen Hart competition. But
yeah,
this would have been great.
I also think, though, that it's already enough that Mercedes has 2 belts. I don't think they don't want a bunch of women running around with 2 belts. I think it's unnecessary. So I think at some point, Mercedes is going to end up having to have that Toni Storm conversation whenever she's not the TBS champion. And I want to address a couple of these comments in here, because some people seem to feel like, and I think Dylan was one, there was another one that said, even if this is a trilogy, it's far too soon for Mercedes to drop. They should have held this feud off and let Britt work her way back into the schedule. Then after Mercedes had some more feud, then pull that. I'm going to disagree and say this. Number one, it's never too soon for Mercedes to drop. Have you not followed her career? Mercedes doesn't have.
Professor, timeout.
Hey, no. Mercedes is not known for having year-long title reigns in any organization, okay? So you could make the argument about WWE and this wasn't fair, but in New Japan, she won the IWGP Women's Championship and lost it in 2 months, right? So she does not, so she doesn't have a history of long title reigns.
Longevity.
And plus, let's consider this. Which title is it more important for Mercedes to hold for a lengthy period of time? Your mid-card title and the TBS title, or the AEW Women's World Championship? So I think that this could be the right time for Britt Baker to come in, and at some point, I don't know if it's the first match or potential trilogy, win the TBS Championship, free Mercedes to go for the AEW World Championship, where, quite frankly, many of us know she belongs, and create that space while still having great prominence for the TBS Championship, which, after Jade lost that title, that TBS title kind of floundered a bit. So I think it makes sense at Wembley for Mercedes to lose. My bigger concern is just to make sure that they have enough stuff to do between now and end of August, because we know Tony Khan is not necessarily big on big buildups. They don't necessarily tell long stories. And it's a shame that 6 to 8 weeks is considered a long buildup for AEW, but it is that. So we'll see. This is going to be very, very interesting. All right, I got to move because we still have to make time for, of course, the great things that are going on with Money in the Bank weekend. So very quickly, I'll mention this. Bloodsport has some more WWE personnel coming, as the Creed brothers are heading to Bloodsport 11, and they will be joining Shayna Baszler as well.
Shayna, awake! Man.
When are you going to move on? When are you going to move on? When are you going to move on? You got to focus on Roxanne.
Money in the Bank.
Roxanne now. Move on.
Why you keep bringing up old stuff? Why?
Money in the Bank this weekend will be hosted by Hall of Famer Trish Stratus there in Toronto. That should be absolutely awesome. And it's going to be a very full weekend of WWE. So it starts, of course, tonight with SmackDown. And we have a whole watch along that you guys will be able to check out with Honey. We will see, obviously, a confrontation between Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, along with the Bloodline. That should be very interesting heading into tomorrow's battle. We will have, it's kind of a tag team episode of SmackDown. The tag team championships on the men's side is on the line as A-Town Down takes on DIY. The former women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, will take on, in a rematch, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. And that's going on SmackDown. Now let's get into Money in the Bank. And we're going to try to roll through these as quickly as we can because we've got Money in the Bank and Heatwave to talk about in terms of our predictions. So let's start, of course, women's wrestling talk. Let's start with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match between Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, Zoe Stark, and well, let me not give my prediction on that. Lord, y'all help me with her name because it just left me that fast. Chelsea Green. Thank you. I had another C in my head. Chelsea Green. Okay, between these six, quickly, who are you saying will be the Ms. Money in the Bank 2024? Honey, ladies first.
Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany in the Bank. I see a lot of bedazzled suitcases going on sale with that merch. I see her being real obnoxious, with her persona, even more obnoxious with it, and teasing everybody, messing with everybody for the fact that she's got it. I can just see it going on really big for her. And even in an interview, a certain interview that happened during Mania weekend, she did talk to me about having her eye on Money in the Bank. So I think that she's going to put that to work.
Okay. Tiffy time it is. Councilman, who's winning Money in the Bank on the women's side?
I ain't got to say no words.
It's Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time. The pink Money in the Banks are coming. They will be on sale, like Huddy said. It's just that. And I do say second runner-up. If it don't, will be Chelsea Green.
Okay.
We might get Chelsea in the bank.
Okay. Jacob, who's winning?
Oh, it's Karen. It's Chelsea. It's Chelsea Green all day.
You say Karen?
Wow.
Valkyria is my second pick.
Valkyria is your second pick. Okay. Chelsea and then Valkyria. Okay. Said.
Glow in the Bank. The more and more I think about this, the more and more it makes sense for Naomi to have some character arc away from the big three. Get her off SmackDown altogether. She wins the briefcase. We sell briefcases just like we sold her Glow title and all her other Glow merch. Let her be the one to end the Liv Morgan revenge tour eventually, because that feud with Rhea doesn't need a title whenever Rhea returns. Makes too much sense. Get her on Raw.
Okay. I could rock with that. I think this is going to be interesting. It's really close because I do think you got three favorites at this point. I think Chelsea, Tiffy, and Naomi, there's a case for all three of those. And we'll see what happens on the women's side. Now, on the men's side.
Whoa. Professor, who you got?
I was going to say, who's your pick?
Yeah. Oh, I'm torn between those three that I just mentioned.
Oh, the three.
No. You got to pick somebody.
I'm torn. You know what? I was going to go with Chelsea, but I think it's time for Naomi. I think Naomi has deserved a big win and a big moment. She hasn't had that big moment yet. Of course, she had that WrestleMania win, but that was part of the big three. She needs her own standout moment. I think it happens tomorrow night.
That would be big, though, considering she's buddy with Bailey and also with the big three involved and everything. That would be really interesting, though.
It will be interesting. All right, on the men's side. Oof, boy, is this going to be tough. LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Carmelo Hayes, the miraculous Chad Gable, the Yeet Master Jey Uso, and the Speed Champion Andrade. Who's going to be Mr. Money in the Bank? Let's start with you, Said.
Golly, this one's difficult because I got to go process of elimination for everybody. Like,
this is gonna be so good.
So I'm just gonna. It's like with Jay, he's on too much merchandising. I don't think they would do Mello yet, even though I love it. CM Punk screws Drew. I don't know. Logan Paul screws LA Knight. You know what? This is the one time where I hope some form of nepotism wins. So I'm gonna go Andrade. I'm gonna go Andrade.
I'm not mad at that.
Okay.
I hope some form of nepotism exists right here. You re-sign. We know who you married to. We know who your daddy-in-law is. Let's I'm gonna root for nepotism. Come on, Andrade.
I like it. I like the style, Mayor. I like
All
the
right.
style.
All right. Jacob, who's Mr. Money in the
Hilarious.
Bank?
Oh God. Like said, LA Knight gets screwed, Gable gets ran off by the 6. Jey Uso, if he wins, he's just gonna lose it. Drew gets screwed by, you know what? It's gonna be either Drew or Mello. I hope it's Mello, because if Drew wins, Punk screws him out of the cash in, and I don't want another failed Money in the Bank cash in. So I'm gonna go Mello is my pick, but something tells me Drew wins.
Okay. Councilman.
Man, they're gonna be yeeting in Toronto as Mr. Yeet in the Bank will be crowned. Like y'all just said, all of them got too many stories. It's not Melo's time yet. Unless they go nepotism, that's the only way Andrade's winning. Everything you said, though, DeLawrence, Wyatt 6 gonna run off Gable. Something's probably gonna happen with LA Knight. CM Punk is gonna get his lick back at Money in the Bank. So it's gonna be the Heat Master.
Okay.
The Heat Master is taking it.
Okay. Honey?
You best believe it's the Yeet Master for me. Love me main event Jey Uso. We need a reason to get this man back in the main event. For God's sakes, his name is main event Jey Uso. So why not give him the damn briefcase? I could totally make a case for the Yeet Master. He's on fire and he's always going to be. And maybe something or another where Jimmy helps him and could possibly make a return soon if he's been real quiet lately. I don't know. Or we could see some interaction with the bloodline even, but I think he's going to overcome those odds.
So Dylan says you can't have 2 failed cash-ins 2 years in a row. Who were the failed cash-ins? Because I don't remember.
Io and Damian were successful.
And Austin Theory. Austin Theory.
Oh, yeah, Austin Theory.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but Damian's was successful. That was the last.
Yeah, and so was Io last year. Yeah. Theory was 2 years
successful
ago
as well. Yeah. So I don't know what the two are. For me, I love the fact that there are a couple of them that seem obvious. And what happened to Jimmy? The question's being asked. What happened to Jimmy? Jimmy's injured. That's where Jimmy is. That's where no Yeet is. It almost seems too obvious that Drew could win it, where it seemed like Jay was going to win it. But I got to tell you, I think with all of that said, that's why my pick is Carmelo Hayes. I'm going with Carmelo Hayes. All right.
Become an opportunist. Opportunist,
Mello. Mello in the Bank is.
Yeah. And then he's going to hold it for a while. So I think it's going to be great. All right. Let's move now then to a title match, the only world title match on the line here this night. It is the champion, Damian Priest, defending against the inaugural world heavyweight champion, Seth Rollins. On the line here, if Seth Rollins loses, he will no longer get another title shot as long as Damian is champion. If Damian loses, he must leave the Judgment Day. What happens here in this title match? Honey, we'll start with you.
As much as this pains me to say, because I love Seth Rollins and that's my Mr. Monday Night, I think Priest is going to retain. Seth is not going to be able to challenge for this title, and he could possibly make a little trip over to SmackDown and get the match that Cody owes him. So Priest retains.
Okay. Councilman.
I think we will all rise for Damian Priest after we hear the 1, 2, 3. And I think Seth stays and helps continue to build up some of the roster that's there and putting on some dope like matches without the title. It's been a while since we've seen him without a title, and just to get to put on some stuff, try some new things, get some new moves into his arsenal. So I think we start to see the next evolution of Rollins.
Okay. Jacob?
So the elephant in the room is the giant German known as Gunther, and that's coming at SummerSlam. The better match is Seth Gunther, but I think for the sake of storyline, Priest wins with some help from Finn and company, and we still head towards the breakup of Judgment Day, but just not without the forced you got to go since you lost type deal.
Said.
Seth got a weird case. Why is he around? Just saw his knee explode. Just saw this man's knee explode. He need to be at home. Need to be at home with Beck. I don't know how it happens, and I can make arguments that this has so many different avenues, but if you want to build your champion up, and I know the company loves Damian Priest, he needs to go over clean. Seth needs to have no influence on the breakup of Judgment Day or anything going on. Clean. Let it happen naturally.
Yeah. Damian need to punch Finn. If Finn comes out, Damian need to punch him.
There's some very interesting comments here, and I just want to go through these because these are really interesting. Boza says Damian retains. Cousin Ron says Damian retains. Let's see. Matt says Seth wins. Jeffrey says Finn screws Damian Priest. Dylan says Seth wins and Finn screws Damian Priest. We got another one for Seth winning. Let's see. Jeffrey says Seth versus Gunther is the match. That'll be an interesting SummerSlam match for sure. And you got to watch out for Finn. There is in my mind, an underlying story that's happening involving Finn and Liv Morgan in this Judgment Day situation. And it's very quiet. It's happening right in front of our eyes. And yeah, I think this is going to get interesting. Now, let me ask you guys this crazy question. Do we get a cash in at Money in the Bank?
Ooh, I forgot about that.
That would only be from the men's side. I think for the women, because they've done it so much, I think they do want to still have some time where they hold it. And for the people that's in there, like Tiffy doesn't have to cash in right now. If Chelsea wins, Chelsea's on SmackDown, so it's no need for her to cash in right now. But for the men's side, depending on who's first, if the men's I think the men's match is opening up the show, right?
I don't know. Know
if they open it up, then I could see if Drew wins, I could see him getting his lick back from Damian.
There's only a cash in if Drew wins, just to set up SummerSlam with Punk. That's the only way there's a same day cash in.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we'll have to watch that to see. Now, there is another title match. It is the Intercontinental Championship match as Sami Zayn takes on Bron Breakker. Who do we think leaves as Intercontinental Champion? Said, let's start with you.
You know, I was pretty busy today. I drove pretty far. I went down to the cemetery and I went and got a tombstone for a plot next to Ricochet and Shayna because Sammy about to go to the upper room. That's what we're about to have happen. The upper room. Sami Zayn. It was fun. It was fun. But it's over.
Just wait till Heatwave, man. We'll see if
it is over.
I can't wait till we talk the Heatwave. I can't wait.
The Heatwave conversation is about to get crazy. I already know. Jacob, who do you got? Sammy or Braun?
Sammy finds a way to escape. And when I say escape, I mean escape. Like a missed spear, haluva kick out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. Braun pops up at like 3 3/4 to keep Braun looking strong.
Okay. Councilman.
You know I hate to say it.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're gonna say, bro.
Sammy is gonna win because it's gonna be veteran versus rookie. He gonna use some kind of veteran type thing to get it, and then Braun is gonna brutalize him after the match is over. Like steel steps get involved, the run around spear is gonna be like that. But Sammy's not gonna walk out. We know that much. He's gonna win, but most likely won't walk out.
All right, and Honey.
I want to say Bron Breakker, but we went through all of this trouble to take this Intercontinental title off Gunther for Sammy. I guess Sammy will retain, and Sammy is not gonna be in the best shape coming into Monday Night Raw. That's for sure.
So let's see what we've got over here in the chat. Dylan says Sami Zayn, not my IC champ. I think that's hilarious. Jeffrey says Braun is gonna break Sammy in half. Let's see. With
Jesus. Jesus.
Upper room.
Braun is about to make this a buried alive match. Matt says Braun wins. Jeffrey says Sammy has a 2 1/3 chance of retaining. That's hilarious.
I like what you did there. Did there.
Very good. Sammy retains. Let's see. Braun wins. It's his time. Braun, my only issue is how they take it from him later. Well, we will see. That's happening again tomorrow. Also, we got this 6-man tag. Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens taking on the Bloodline. Now, I'm not sure which 3 members of the Bloodline will be in this match, and I wonder if that will sway your thoughts at all. Who walks out of here as the winner? Honey, we'll start with you.
Not my bloodline. Hashtag not my bloodline. Despite the fact that I am a bloodline member and unofficially, this isn't the bloodline that I'm a part of. Cody, Kevin, and Randy, I feel like they can find a way, but even though the numbers are, I'm just seeing that there's 4 on this side and 3 on the other. I'm wondering who could potentially come and disrupt the masses in the middle of this match and try to be the 4th man for, to even out the numbers game here. But we're going on to SummerSlam very, very soon, and things are just getting hotter as we speak by the day, considering all the PLEs coming up and everything like that. But eventually we have to come down to the point of who is really running this bloodline, and it ain't Solo. I feel like something could reveal itself this weekend or coming into Monday, or excuse me, next week, in the next few weeks going into SummerSlam. Something's got to give. We need to know what's really going on here. And I know Paul Heyman is diligently trying to recover so he can go back to his tribal chief and tell him about the dissension in the ranks with this hostile takeover.
Yes. Councilman, who's winning this one?
Oh man, this one's difficult. The Temu bloodline needs to win so they can remain strong.
Bloodline, wow.
Yeah,
but
Temu bloodline, yeah, that's the term for this bloodline that
yeah, that's what we call it. We call them the Temu bloodline. But there is a scenario, like y'all said, there's a 4th person that could come out. And I could potentially see it being CM Punk to get revenge for what they did to Heyman, especially with the interaction that they had and were at Money in the Bank. But if there is no 4th person, the Temu bloodline has to win so they can stand tall. And I think they're going to pin Kevin Owens to do it.
Oh,
interesting.
I just thought of it. It just came to me. Go ahead, guys. Proceed.
Jacob.
Wow. First and foremost, that's a whole lot of disrespect to the bloodline. Put some respect on my man's name with that.
Temu was a nice place.
Get out, Jody. The real question is if Jacob Fatu is allowed in Canada because of the prior conviction and such. I do believe R-Truth has shown up on shows in Canada, so I think there's a way around, depending upon the crime and this and that he could be there. So if Fatu is there, the Small Werewolf and company are going to run through Cody, Randy, and KO like nothing. And even if he's not, I still give the bloodline the win because they need to continue to be built to look strong, look unpredictable, look like a bunch of wild savages, which they are. And I think Solo gets the pin on Cody to set up SummerSlam. And that's where things start to get a little wonky for the new bloodline and maybe the return of Roman and Jimmy. And also, I feel like Jay gets screwed by Solo and company and Money in the Bank because of some prior interaction earlier that night. So new bloodline is going to be busy catching bodies and causing chaos.
Said.
Bloodline wins for a lot of reasons you guys said. I think Solo does pin Cody clean. Not because that the trio of Kevin, Orton, and Cody are not formidable, because I feel like Randy's walking out. I think Randy has been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, eyeing the title. probably getting tired of being called upon for his help since War Games. I think Randy walks out in the trio, causing Cody to lose clean, get pinned, setting up that SummerSlam match. And then eventually, Randy will want his shot because he's been eyeing number 14.
Wow.
Well, or do we get an RKO out of nowhere and then he walk out on Cody?
I don't think we get that much of a jerk Orton. I think he's trying to get the hot tag and he just leaves. He's like, oh,
I wouldn't put it past him though.
I wouldn't put it past. I can see that out of nowhere.
Put it past him. Oh, that Sid Vicious Hulk Hogan moment where he like walks away from his tag. That's a moment we haven't seen anything like that in a while. But I was also about to say, because the thought came to me, the light bulb came on while one of you guys were talking. But the fourth man could be Jimmy. The fourth man could be Jimmy to come back and help, especially after the fact they kicked him out the bloodline and completely deserted him, and totally like took him off TV. So I feel like maybe Jimmy could resurface.
That makes sense if you bring Roman back at SummerSlam. That makes sense. Use Jimmy as the kickstart. See Jimmy get nerfed again.
Oh, we got extra plot for Jimmy.
Not if Mr. Yeet in the Bank comes out on top, though. If Mr. Yeet in the Bank comes out on top, we could see some real good stuff coming up in this match. A lot
Jimmy better be backstage to celebrate his wife, and that's it. Don't come mess with bloodline.
Wow. Well, remember, Money in the Bank airs live, special start time 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And if you guys have not been checking these pre-shows that they've been having starting at 5 p.m., you should do that. They are feeling very much like an NFL or NBA kind of pre-show. They've completely changed it with these great, packages that they've put together and interview. Like it's really next level. So by all means, check it out. You'll enjoy it. That leads us to, of course, the following night, Sunday night, Heatwave at NXT, which I just think it's so interesting. You might remember when NXT used to be the precursor or the prelude to the PLE, which followed the next night. Now NXT is going to be following the big PLE. So we start with the countdown, which will be a tag team match of two Canadians, Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovic, taking on Jasmine Nix and JC Jane. Any thoughts on this, or should I just skip to the match that I know some of y'all want to talk about?
Nah, we're gonna make.
I like what they're doing with Jasmine Nix. I really like what they're doing, but I wish they would lean more into the dashing JC Jane. I really do, because I think there's a lot of growth there, especially with this being like a mini faction. I get why they're trying to push Petrovic. I'm not a huge fan yet, but I think Grace does make a good showing. But I think JC and Nix actually get this W.
Okay. Jacob?
Sorry, good.
Sorry. Good.
I think Grace eats the pin in her hometown, if not home country. I don't like what they're doing with JC Jane, but honestly, just reunite Toxic Attraction once Gigi is healthy, and come on. Just they're missing something without each other.
Yep.
Councilman.
I'm the same way. I think JC Jane is gonna go with it, and I hope that she actually wears the mask that Cody gave her and stuff on this one. I hope she comes out in that, because I'm with Cedric. I'd love to see more of the undashing side of what they're building with her.
Honey,
you put some respect on my girl Ariana Grace's name, damn it. I think these hometown girls are worthy of getting a win. Not all of them lose in their hometown. And I think this could potentially lead to, maybe the return of Gigi Dolan, if she is healthy yet. I'm not sure if she is yet or not, but I want to reunite that feud with her and JC, or maybe even continue that lost storyline of her getting that makeover with Ariana Grace. I need it.
Oh yeah, I do want to see that, because I'm tired of Maple Leaf Xia Li. We gotta get her out the paint.
What?
Wait.
You just called Carmen Petrovich make believe. Wow.
She's nowhere even close.
It's a complete rip off of the gimmick. Complete.
Wow.
No, it isn't. No way it isn't. I don't think that.
I ain't gonna lie. The only thing she missing is some sauce in her head when she do this. Yo,
don't co-sign his bull. Don't do that. Don't.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
I didn't think about it until he said it. I'm like,
down to the entrance. Where's the lie?
She has one sword and she has a completely different look. She's
blonde. That's it. She's blonde.
Xia Li, like her gimmick came from like, that whole when she completely transitioned her look and her attitude and everything and went complete like heel mode when they had with that Tian-Sha thing and all that stuff. That's where that came. Like she had that in her, but
she's now the bride from Kill Bill of NXT. That's
wow. All right. So from there we go to the NXT Women's North American Championship. It is Kalani Jordan defending against Sol Ruka. Said,
I like this. I like when you see the flippy style women's wrestlers compete against each other. I think this will be a very fun match, and I like that we're giving Kalani Jordan some really good challengers right off the bat. Sol being the person who was number one in that combine before the ladder match is a great challenger, but I think this is just a footnote in Lonnie's reign. I think she'll win clean, but I think it'll be one of those escape type of wins where it still plays up Sol. I don't think we'll get there yet. I still believe in the heel turn so much. I don't think it'll come for months, but I think this will build towards that.
Okay. Jacob.
This is going to be a spot fest, boys and girls. If you like flippy stuff, please tune in and strap in because we are here for a good time, not a long time. That being said, Kalani Jordan wins. She finds a way to counter the Soul Crusher. And 1, 2, 3, we get out of here. Soul Snatcher. That's right. Soul Snatcher.
Yeah, he watches the product. Councilman.
Professor.
I mute Booker T, so I mute the commentary. It's Booker, so
that has nothing to do with what he's doing.
Damn.
Oh man.
I can't.
I'm gonna say Kalani takes the win. I think to Cedric's point, it's gonna be a fun match. I think Sol Ruka kind of cost herself the match going with a Soul Snatcher real quick and then misses, and then Kalani takes the opportunity to pick it up. And I know a lot of y'all are saying for her to turn heel. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I want that. I think I want to see the face run for a little while. I just want to see what can be done with it. Like, I'm really tired of seeing like champions and then they got to turn heel. It's just like it's always the same thing. It's just like, no, let's see her run as a face and see what can happen.
Okay, honey.
Kalani's definitely winning and retaining, and there is, unlike what others may believe, I think that there will be an instant heel turn, and we are going to see a somewhat edgier Kalani. I mean, if you really think about it, nobody does it like Lonnie. Gives very much a more of like an attitude kind of thing. Like it's something that should be a little edgy. Thank you, Dylan. There we go. Heel slogan. See, to my point. I definitely could totally see like, them going back and forth and, having great moments and great spots. This is definitely going to be probably like one of like the low key highlighted matches of the night. Because these two, forget it. Like we saw them in the women's ladder match for the title. Now to see them one-on-one, that's a whole nother ball game. I totally could see Kalani turning heel, making the story a little bit interesting. And this is definitely not going to be the last time we see these two go at it. I could see a bitter rivalry for a year or two, or even going forward, even when they move on up to the main roster, whenever that time comes. But Kalani retains and turns heel the same night.
Well, the household is united as Matt believes the same thing. Yet Jeffrey feels like it's too soon for a heel turn. So we will see what's going to happen. I think this is going to be a great match, and I definitely think you're right. We're seeing the starting of a great new rivalry, and I can't wait to see how this goes down. So, of course, we've got the men's North American Championship match. Obafemi against Wes Lee. If Wes Lee does not win, he will not get another shot at the North American Championship as long as Obafemi is the champion. Honey, who's walking away as the North American champion?
Going with the big man, Obafemi. Obafemi will retain. Retain. I feel like Wes Lee deserves to be in at least the main title picture in NXT, especially with his amazing comeback in less time than what was announced after his recovery and everything. I think he could do a lot more, especially like if Trick retains, Trick versus Wes Lee, I think would be something that we would need to tune into. But the big man Obafemi, he's unstoppable. There's nobody breaking this guy down. I just don't see it.
Councilman.
Oba is about to disrespect Wes Lee this Sunday. He's about to do that man so dirty. Oba is retaining strongly. No, this ain't. I don't think this is gonna be no Sami Zayn type match. This is gonna be like, hey, you finna get this work, and then hopefully, if they still work in the TNA World Collide, we can move into you and the Rascals versus Gallus after this. Before you go into the NXT title picture, which is where he should be, instead of continuously going for this one too.
Okay, Jacob.
Yeah, Wesley, I love you, but hate it had to be you, Chief. What Obi say? Send me your best, but don't send me anybody you want back. Yeah. Sorry, Wes. Try again next time when somebody takes the belt off of Oba, so you'll be waiting a while.
Said.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
I lost volume for a second. Quite simply put, I believe whoever wins this match, the loser automatically. But the thing with Oba is, I think we're still trying to figure out how he should take a pin or how he should take a L, which too soon in the game to do that. I think Wes puts up a great showing, but Oba continues his dominance, and then we see Oba go do more crossover work with TNA. He's already sub Moose, but I think Wes Lee deserves to be in the main title picture whenever that time comes.
Well, it's definitely an overwhelming thought here in the chat that Oba is the guy. However, Boza feels like Wes could win. Honey,
I was gonna say I wanted to add something. I feel like we could get a potential new contender for Oba.
Okay.
Somebody, maybe I think we might see some more crossover with TNA action kind of thing.
Okay. Do we get Moose?
That's what I want.
Give us Moose.
That's what I want. But that's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to, put it all the way out there and rip the Band-Aid off. I just wanted it to simmer. My honey's hot prediction senses are tingling.
Can we throw up Dylan's comment real quick?
Let's see. Are we gonna bury Wes Lee next to Shayna?
and the answer is yes. We got the upper room real busy this weekend. It's gonna be it's real busy. we got space for everybody.
I didn't want to laugh, but that's
great. That's great. That is great. That's great. All right, we continue our prediction show with the tag team title match. Chase U looks for their opportunity to become tag team champions, two-time tag team champions, as they take on Nathan Frazer and Axiom. Who walks out as the NXT tag team champion? Said.
I don't care about this match. I ain't gonna hold you.
Oh my God.
This match, I'm so fed up with Chase U, and I just want them to be funded. Whoever money laundered for Chase U, can we stop? Can we stop?
No, I won't.
Like, it was fun before. So, and now we're teasing the dissension between Axiom and Frazer because Frazer's off competing for the Speed title and the Heritage Cup. So we're teeing that up, but Chase U ain't gonna be the ones to take the belts off of them. it's going to be the OC or another veteran tag team, or hell, even OTM with Jada Parker's ascension so far. But I feel like Axiom and Nathan Frazier win rather easily.
Okay. Jacob.
One, I will not stop the money laundering for Chase U. What do you think I do in Vice City besides clean up behind you? Two, Axiom and Nathan Frazier find a way to retain. I think this is more about building up the tag division in NXT a little bit better, and then maybe Gallus gets it off of them, or maybe somebody from TNA takes it from them if we do that whole Worlds Collide type bit angle.
It's just very interesting. We're publicly acknowledging money laundering here. That's
right.
Scary to me.
Just casually.
I own a laundromat in Vice City
with two elected officials here. This is crazy. Councilman.
Nothing new. Nothing new.
Nothing new to me. You know, there's corruption in Vice City already. So this is not
Yes.
Doesn't shock me at all that that's happening over there.
God, I love this show.
Wait. I can't. Wait.
You must be sleeping under a rock or something.
Oh, God.
Oh, my Lord.
I ain't gonna lie though, I agree with Cedric. I don't care about this match whatsoever. I think Axiom and Nathan retain. You know what Chase U need? They need a rivalry with an HBCU that's in NXT. That would
be sick.
Fire.
That would be fire.
Sick.
That would be fire.
Yes.
That would be so good for them.
That would be fire.
That would be sickening. That would be so good.
Honey, who's winning this tag title match?
I think Axiom and Nathan Frazier are going to retain. Other than that, I'm not sure where they're going with what's going on with Chase U the last couple of weeks. Is Ridge Holland, really a fraud? Is Riley even still a part of Chase U? It's just like a lot of chaos going on in that organization. So I'm just going to stick where the organization is not. And that's Axiom and Nathan Frazier. They'll find a way. They've been having some weird interactions as well on NXT and, back and forth about Nathan Frazier's attention span and such. But I think they could still come out on top.
For sure. So does Daylight go to Chase U? That's a great question. Lots of people think
only to pick up payments.
Only to pick up payments. Nathan and Axiom. Cousin Ron, I like this. Bring the marching band to life in NXT. I think that would be, it'd be incredible.
So good.
What if Riley Osborne was a plant by the tax department of the state of Florida? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. One band, one sound. I'm for it. So
that's a good faction name.
Yeah, it is. I honestly think they need to do a switch and make this the countdown match and put the women's tag match on the main show. Just my thought. All right, this is what y'all are really here for. So you know what? Let's go here and we'll come back to the women's title match.
I like your style, Mayor. I like your style, Professor.
We've got the men's title match. It's a fatal 4-way. As Trick Williams defends against Sean Spears, Ethan Page, and Javon Evans. Said, who's walking out as the NXT champion?
This is another match that I'm gonna try to get up for, but my champion is Great Value, Too Cold Scorpio. I am very happy that Sean Spears is in this match. I'm very happy that we're starting to bring him back into the light after he had such a great reveal a few months ago and did the program with Ridge that really didn't go anywhere. I said what I said. I'm standing on it. But the reason we have a fatal 4-way is because the champ is still developing before our eyes. We want him to develop. We want him to be great. We even got the young OG in this match to kind of add a different element to the match. So I want to see more, selfishly, I want to see more of the Trick Williams that we saw in the Iron Survivor. Kind of that pull a rabbit out of a hat, quick showing, like fast pace. If we did get more of that style, Trick Williams in winning this match, I think it'll do a lot for his development and being the face of NXT. I think it's very telling that Ethan Page is now in his second consecutive main event. So I think eventually these will be his challengers. We're just trying to build up more reputable challengers for this title run, and it finally looks like we got some. So, but Trick retains.
Okay, Jacob.
So, on one hand, calling a man a great value version of Too Cold Scorpio isn't that is one of the greatest black wrestlers of all time. So there's that. On the flip side, Jesus, that was disrespectful. That being said, there's two Canadians in this match. Canada's got to get a win, right? I think All Ego gets this, but I think Trick steals it with a roll up off of something that Sean Spears does. He pins Spears. It keeps Ego and Javon Strong for next potential challengers for Trick. Eventually, this belt's going to Ethan Page at some point. So,
Okay. Councilman.
Yeah, I think it's too early to take the belt off Trick. To Cedric's point, I think still continuing to build him. I think this will make him look a little bit more stronger to go up against veterans and even such a new school. And then, like you said, I think Jahan, right? That's his name.
Javon.
Yeah.
I think him not getting
watch the crowd up. Come on.
Touche, sir. Touche. I think Trick takes it and then gets a new competitor for his title. Just throwing it out there. Probably won't happen, but I want to see it because I believe in Joe Hendry.
Hendry's got to show up at some point somewhere,
and I think it might be right after Trick Williams wins. We gonna say his name.
Ooh, that place will go nuts. It'll go nuts. Honey, your thoughts?
Part of me thought that maybe Sean Spears would steal this, but I don't think so just yet. He just got the pin on Trick Williams like last week or something, and he's the only one to do so. Trick Williams retains. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Sean Spears. It's probably going to have something to do with Ethan Page or the young OG, or maybe Ethan Page because he's a little bit more resentful than most. But he's going to retain, and he's going to go on, and that's when Sean Spears is going to be like, "You forgot that I pinned you. You've never pinned me." And continue that rivalry between them two, and then young OG and Ethan Page will probably go off into something else as well. But I feel like young OG might be out of the way, like that. Like he's gonna be a big highlight in this match because that boy bouncy, and he's like another future human highlight reel in the ring. So there's going to be a lot of amazing spots with him, but I think he's going to be out of the way. And Trick gets a pin probably on Ethan Page, and Sean Spears, is going to get his, get some kind of a match one-on-one later on.
All right, let's look at some of these moments from the chat. Ethan Page is some believe that. Some are going with the young OG, which I think is pretty cool. What else? Another one for the young OG. I like this one. What if Josh Alexander pulls up and distracts his North teammate, Ethan Page? That would be interesting. Eric says the winner is All Ego. AEW, All Ego Wrestling. I think that's pretty creative. Very creative, actually. Let's see. Something tells me we see Josh Alexander and shocks the ego out of Ethan Page. Could be very, very interesting. And, of course, the match that you guys really came to see us talk about. And we only have a couple of minutes because Honey's got her watch along in 10 minutes. So we got to make it quick, folks. Who's walking out as the NXT Women's Champion? Honey, go.
Roxanne.
Jacob?
And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Jacob?
Yeah, that plot Mr. Mayor bought is for one Lola Vice. She's going right in the ground, taking a nice dirt nap to the back of the line. We go. Pop rocks all day, baby. Roxanne Perez for the dub.
All right, now let's have these two great councilmen, these two great elected officials who like to debate.
This is the real debate right here.
This is the real debate right here. Councilman.
Wait, I went first last time. I had to go first last time.
Okay.
So I will let the mayor speak his truth.
Mayor, you're up.
It's funny I go first because Councilman just mentioned in our prior segment that there is corruption in Vice City. He had the wrong option. There's going to be an eruption of volcanic proportions when Lola be shaking that thing after winning the NXT Women's title.
Hey, yo, whoa,
wait,
hey, yo, this is PG, yo.
Oh, wait.
Not anymore.
Oh, boy.
Not anymore.
We didn't got to shake it with Sexy Red. We were robbed at Vengeance Day. That rose from the concrete, and it's as big as a beanstalk. Now it's the biggest phenomena in all of NXT, and we will not be delayed any longer. It ain't enough pop rocks in America. We chew pop rocks and spit them out when I was a kid. That's what we did. You think that weak Bailey to belly finisher is gonna? It ain't stopping nothing. She gonna be seeing stars. And matter of fact, we don't need no plots in the upper room this weekend. We knocking Roxanne's ass all the way to SmackDown.
She can be here.
She can be Bailey's next challenger because that spinning back fist is coming. It's meat. All I can say is this. Toronto is in for a treat. You had Sami Zayn's comedy show last night, whenever it is. You're going to see some epic twerking with a title come Sunday.
Kind of hard to twerk in the butt.
Twerking with a title. All right.
All I know is this is my champion. And
this is your
I'm going to love to see it.
I'm going to fight all these urges, my brother.
Councilman.
I don't know why. Every time I play, it just make me want to do this. I'm going to try to fight all these urges, brother. But you know what? Cedric has a point. We are going to see a first with that when it comes to twerking. This is the first time you're going to see a person twerk in a grave. A whole shallow grave of twerking her booty meat, because that's what she's gonna be when it's all said and done and the 1, 2, 3 is struck. Okay, the Pereziacs are going to be standing tall as she remains the NXT Women's Champion. Why? Just because you talked about your mama that you gonna win this, that's fine. Lady Day gonna strike twice. Okay, all right. So you gonna try that back fist? Roxanne is ready for that. She gonna try that kick. Roxanne is ready for that. You know what Lola ain't gonna be ready for? Pop rock after pop rock after pop rock, 1, 2, 3, and her
off
standing
the top
on top
rope.
of her. And then guess what? Just to add insult to injury, that's what we gonna send them laws after Lola. She gonna be twerking in that grave, resurrect her so we can see her in court, so she can also face these charges that she done accumulated since this rivalry has taken place. Man, the Pereziacs will be cheering. The Caesar Blues will be crying. Come after this Sunday, and then with Cora Jade returning and then challenging Roxanne, completing the full circle, then Rox can go up to SmackDown with Bailey and them.
And then Lola could have her match and then win and beat Cora Jade.
Mhm.
Yeah, like yeah,
which could happen.
Hey, Professor, what is your pick?
Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. This is a tough one.
he gonna say it. He gonna say it.
I'm gonna lean toward Roxanne on this one. I don't mind being wrong. I'm gonna lean toward Roxanne though. I think it's gonna be a very competitive match. Easily the best match that Lola Vice has had. Easily.
I'm gonna double down, and I'm gonna take away the back fist. I think this is when we finally see a sub, and this reminds me of the old OG NXT, where you would have your people at the top of the card and they have their swan songs. I'm thinking Bobby Roode going over Shinsuke Nakamura in Orlando, where they ran it back a couple times. Then Bobby was the person to carry the brand. That's what I think is happening right now, because nothing left for Roxanne to do.
I would agree. With that.
I will say this though. I think, and this is me being fair to it, I think it would be a better scenario for her for when it moves to CW. I think around that time when CW comes, I think that's when Lola should get it and it moves into that new direction. I think that's the best time rather than it being in Heatwave is cool, but it's like Heatwave ain't your main ain't your main PLE. And I would like to see Lola because she will become a champ, that NXT Women's Champion. That's no doubt. But I would like her to see it at a bigger PLE than this one, in my opinion.
Well, here's what it boils down to. It'll all go down this weekend. It's a huge. I'm scared to ask. This is going to be a huge weekend for all things WWE. Again, SmackDown starts in just a few minutes, so we're going to wrap up. So that I guess we're laughing at this. When
just look at the there we go.
The word
I just read it.
And Lola Vice is the topic. I get nervous. I don't get it, but you guys do, and that's
you get it. Oh,
so
that's funny. That's funny.
Okay. I don't. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bypass all of our sign-offs because Honey has to get set up, and she only has a handful of minutes. So you guys hang out in the chat, okay? And stick with us because we're gonna be back literally in less than 3 minutes for the SmackDown watch along, and it's very entertaining when you're rocking with Honey. So thank you guys for hanging out with us with this extended edition. There may be some post shows for both of these PLEs, so stick around with all things women's wrestling talk. We are the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Stand by because on the way is the SmackDown watch along with Wrestling with Honey.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network.